sharecroppers, and what her parents really wanted for her, what her dad's side of the family wants for her, what her mom's side of the family wants for her, and what she ends up doing. And she ends up being a famous author, but I wanted to, this is her grandfather talking about the civil rights movement. This is the way brown people have to fight, my grandfather says. You can't just put your fist up. You have to insist on something gently. Walk toward a thing slowly. Be ready to die, my grandfather says, for what is right. Be ready to die, my grandfather says, for everything you believe in. And none of us can imagine death, but we try to imagine it anyway. That's Brown Girl Dreaming by Jacqueline Woodson. And then, okay, another one that stuck with me for a long time. This book is called Trouble. It's by Gary Schmidt, who has had a number of Newbery Honor books. He wrote The Wednesday Wars, if anyone read that. Lizzie Brighton, The Buckminster Boy. He wrote a new one called Orbiting Jupiter that, oh my goodness, you have to read. Write that one down. Orbiting Jupiter by Gary Schmidt. I'm not kidding. I am not a crier. I do not cry at movies. I do not cry at Kleenex commercials or whatever. I cried at the end of that book. And my daughter, who's a 7th grader, I warned her when she took the book from me. I was like, it's sad. She came down sobbing, like snot and tears, and it is. And I figure that any book, any author that can make you feel like that about something you've read, and that's a short book, has got something. The other thing I love about Gary Schmidt is he actually he teaches at Calvin, and he lives in Alto. So I like to think, because my mom used to teach at Alto, and she lives over in Cascade, which is kind of adjacent to that area, and I like to think that he could be standing behind me in the grocery store, like at the Cascade DMW, and I'd never know it. I kind of like that mystery about Gary Schmidt. Anyway, it's a little, I'm a total book nerd, I'm an author nerd, I get it. I wanted to read you a little bit about from the flap of this book. It's about a small town in Maine. Henry Smith's father told him that if you build your house far enough away from trouble, then trouble will never find you. But trouble comes careening down the road one night in the form of a pickup truck that strikes Henry's older brother, Franklin. In the truck is Che Kaun, a young Cambodian from Franklin's prep school. The tragedy sparks racial tensions in the school and in the town where Henry's family has lived for generations. This is one of those books, and it kind of ties in with this book, about thinking for yourself. You get to a point, and you guys are probably just about there, age-wise, where even though you live in a house and you respect your parents, obviously, and you listen to what they have to say, you can start to evaluate situations, whether it's a presidential campaign or whether it's something you read in the newspaper or you hear on the radio. You evaluate it with your own, I don't know, your own grade of grayscale, I guess, right and wrong. And this is a story about a kid who starts to look at a situation in his town through his own eyes, as opposed to what his teachers and his dad is saying, and he determines what's right and wrong. This book, All American Boys, which just came in, it's a new book, is the same thing. It's set through two different, it's by Jason Reynolds and Brendan Keeley. And it's set through the eyes of two different kids. One's name is Rashad and one's name is Quinn. They live in the same neighborhood, they go to the same school. But they have different realities, shall we say. Rashad is in a grocery store, like a convenience store, and in his ROTC, because the school has, you know what that is, it's like military, like, how would you describe that? ROTC, like military in training. You can do ROTC in college and get scholarships and stuff. Well, they have an ROTC division in their high school. So he's in his uniform, this young black man in the ROTC uniform, and there's a mistake that happens, and he becomes the object of police brutality, and it's caught on film, just like happens all the time now. People have their phones all the time, and it becomes a news story, and then he becomes a hashtag, which is Rashad is absent again today, and then it becomes a movement. where people are saying, we can't let this happen anymore. We can't let people just be judged on the color of their skin, and people and that saying that police brutality is okay. This was a really thought-provoking book. When I picked it up, honestly, from the front cover, I thought it was a sports story. It looks to me like a football story. And I try to read widely. I try to read about things that aren't necessarily of personal interest to me, because I try to be able to talk about them to my students at the middle school. And this was not about, there is a lot of sports in here. There's it's actually basketball. The basketball team, it plays a central role, but it's really about these kids and starting to think about the world in a way that you feel comfortable, that you can justify to yourself. It's a super great book, All American Boys. Highly recommended. And I got this one off of We Need Diverse Books. That's what brought it to my attention. So you guys have been really polite, and I so appreciate it. Sorry.
You're awesome.
I talked a
Thank
longer,
you.
but I love to talk about books, and I'm willing to, I don't know, answer questions, or I'm willing to, if you guys ever want a suggestion, you can email me.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you so much.